With the 2024 presidential election right around the corner, there's a lot of debate surrounding President Biden's new rent cap proposal.
They're panicking, and they're trying to figure out what they can get a headline out there.
Sure, it all sounds good until it's not. But before we get into it, be sure to like and subscribe for any future updates on affordable housing. The new rent cap proposal centers on several key points, with supporters arguing that rent caps are necessary to make housing more affordable, especially in areas with rapidly increasing rents. They believe this could help prevent displacement and make housing more accessible to low and middle income families.
I'm behind it.
San Diegan Yolanda Brock, who shares an apartment with her sister, says it's difficult to keep up with yearly rent increases.
It's unfortunate, how high it is here. You're working full time. So I'm a San Diego native, and the high rates. And so it's just, you're trying to find like a middle ground. And so this will be very helpful if this goes into effect.
However, critics warn that it could lead to more price fixing by landlords, potentially exacerbating the housing crisis.
A lot of people here in the Bay Area are struggling to pay rent. What you may not know is that a secretive algorithm could be driving prices much higher.
They claim that rent caps can negatively affect landlords, particularly small property owners, by reducing their ability to cover maintenance costs. This can lead to poorer living conditions and discourage investment in new rental properties. Critics also point out that rent control can lead to market distortions, limiting the potential return on investment for rental properties. The National Association of Realtors president Kevin Sears issued the following statement in response to the proposal. NAR opposes misguided attempts to cap or control rental rates. Price controls may seem appealing, but they have backfired on local governments and harmed the people we need to help the most. Developers are reluctant to build in areas where the government imposes rent controls on new buildings, and these policies actually decrease the supply of low to mid-range housing units. We can protect the most vulnerable by supporting targeted assistance to renters and housing providers when there is a gap between rising wages and rising rent. But the long-term solution remains increasing supply. We need more than 328,000 new apartment units each year just to keep up with demand. That's 4.3 million units by 2035. Rent control is a rare instance where the research is fairly conclusive. It doesn't work. These measures fail to improve most renters' financial situation and shift the burden of economic difficulties, inflation, and other costs onto the housing provider with no counterbalance. NAR has advocated for federal legislation and policies to help eliminate discriminatory land use policies and remove barriers that weaken housing production in the United States. The only way to keep cities affordable for working-class families is to ensure that the supply of housing keeps pace with the growing demand. The proposal raises legal questions about the federal government's authority to impose such regulations, as housing policy is traditionally managed at the state and local levels, sparking debates about federal versus state control over housing markets. Economists are divided on the long-term economic impact of rent caps, with some studies suggesting that while they may offer short-term relief to tenants, they can lead to reduced housing supply and higher rents in the long term once the caps are lifted or in uncontrolled markets.
We had the overreaction economically during COVID. We needed a lot of help at the beginning of COVID, but they, like government does, they went too far one way. The Fed kept rates way too low for too long. What you just said happened. Now they're panicking at the ballot box or the battle box. You pick, Kyle. They're panicking, and they're trying to figure out what they can get a headline out there. I just don't know. We need more housing in America. This may not be sort of applicable to new builds, but if I'm a landlord and I see this floating out there and I'm thinking about building a new building and I'm wondering, well, they may change the rule on me at any time, why the hell would I build a new building?
The discussion around this proposal reflects a broader debate about how best to address housing affordability and balance the interests of tenants and property owners.